Hey, this is JC and welcome to Small Brick City, where we want to help you build a Lego city regardless of the space you have. This is a quick update on my Cathedral MOC, which is made from 3 Harry Potter Hogwarts sets, 1 set of the Clock Tower and 2 sets of the Great Hall. I've also added a bunch of stuff around it to create a complete landscape, and this entire setup as you see it will be placed on the upper section of my brick beach. In this video, I'll show you a lot of the additions and changes I made. I incorporated a lot of suggestions from various subscribers who left their comments. So thank you everyone who left comments and gave suggestions on how to make this particular mock display even better. So let's get started. Let's start off with the most obvious area, and that's the tiling that is done for this part of the display. I moved all my round tiles over here to give you an idea of how this looks if the entire area is cobblestoned. And my plan is to have all these tiles, these light grey tiles, be removed, and they will be replaced by cobblestones all the way down to the main street over here as well. So the whole idea is to make this entire stretch cobblestone to give it kind of an old city charm. I also took Michael Gleff's suggestion by putting in different colored tiles just to break up the monotony of the light grey and dark grey. I did put in just the black and the gold because I think it fit in. I did not want to make it too colorful, otherwise it just feels too colorful and it doesn't fit, I think, this setup and basically the color palette I'm trying to go for. As you can see on the other side of the cathedral, it is still tiled in light grey. I'm still waiting for parts for the round tiles. Once I get the parts in, I'll be able to change up all the areas, and that goes around the back of the church as well. I'll show you the graveyard later on because this cobblestone path does kind of become narrow and it goes throughout the graveyard in a more random pattern. What I did was also to add in some stalls. I did take out my visitor center after all. I did have a visitor center over here, but I felt it was just too big. It blocked the entire view and I think it just distracted from the setup, so I've decided to go against it. I've placed some benches for minifigs. I'm gonna put maybe this ice cream cart here or some kind of cart. My antique store, which is the souvenir store for this particular cathedral, will be placed somewhere here. I will put studs so that can be fixed. So this will be just somewhere here. It doesn't really block the path and I think it makes sense to be right here as you go past the cemetery or you visit this fountain or you come from that park over there. For the park itself, I've made several changes. One suggestion was also inspired by Michael's suggestion of putting some kind of ruins. So I wanted some kind of an archway because I think that fit pretty well, and I designed this archway to look like ruins. So just imagine that this was originally part of a bigger archway, or even maybe it could have been a wall, and this is the entrance towards the cathedral, and this is all that is left, and this is left here for historical purposes, and it goes into the cathedral park where we get to the more modern memorial wall and the fountain as well as that monument on top. And all this makes sense in the context of my storyline, which I'll share in the review video of this mock. I added in lots of flowers. We've got shrubs and plants over here and lots of different colored flowers all around as well. So that just brightens it up and gives it a bit more visual texture. Now let's move on to the graveyard over here. For the graveyard itself, I didn't do any major changes, but I did make some minor modifications. The first thing I did was to add in more black and gold tiles for the cobblestone path. And you can see that actually extends all the way through and it goes around the cathedral as well. I also took a suggestion by Swole Tommy Pickles. He mentioned there are too many red flowers which looked a bit too uniform, so I switched out some dark purple flowers just to break up the red, and I do think it looks pretty good. Other than that, it is pretty much the same. Oh, I did make a tiny change to the tree over here. Let me just break that off so that you can see. I changed one of the bricks to a corner brick so that I could put in this plant part. So it just looks like there's some leaves growing out from here and just breaks up the straightness of this particular tree trunk. And of course, my gargoyle is still there, guarding the cemetery, or the graveyard rather. And if you're wondering what's the difference between a graveyard and a cemetery is a more of a modern concept, and a graveyard is always adjacent to a church or cathedral. Here's a look at the very back of this MOC display. Now, I should mention that the MOC display will be placed against a wall in the corner. So this is actually against the wall, which is why the tree is kind of straight like that. If I were to place it in a center of a setup, I would of course build a fuller tree, but that's the reason why it seems cut off in this way. I did take a suggestion from subscriber D-Pin. He requested for a bird bath, so I've added in a bird bath here, although we have a frog bathing in there instead. And here's a shot of the cathedral from the back, and you notice those stained glass windows right here. A small feature that I'm pretty happy with, and once again a shout out to Adora Builds for really motivating me for designing these stained glass windows to make the back more interesting. Here's a look at the back of the cathedral. This side of the MOC is actually against a wall in my setup, so viewers will really never see it, but for the sake of completeness, I'd like you to see it in case you missed out on my previous videos. Back here, you can see the bird bath, and this is a back entrance to the cathedral. It's a custom build that I put in. You can also see the cobblestone pathway that goes around the church or the cathedral. And this part over here where you see it's all light grey tiles, that will be replaced with cobblestone tiles to create that whole effect of cobblestone going around the entire cathedral. Here's the back of the memorial wall, and you can see kind of into the cathedral park over there. Here's an elevated view of the front of the Cathedral MOC, but from the back. You can see the back of the wall, the back of the memorial, that's the archway obviously, and actually where it's currently tiled grey, that is Brick Point, which overlooks my brick beach. And over the front of the MOC on the lower level will be all my modular buildings. I hope you enjoyed this quick video update on my Cathedral MOC and the surrounding areas. If you've got any ideas to make this MOC even better, please let me know in the comments below. I'll try my best to incorporate your comments into the final MOC for the review video and when I place it into Small Brick City. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Check out these two videos before you go.